Sawasdee ka. Thank you for joining us on Newsline. We're broadcasting live on NBT, Radio Thailand FM 88, and also on NBT World. It's a Tuesday today, and the date is March 8th, and you're with me, Sandra Hanutsaha. We begin the show with a segment called Thailand Moves Forward, and in our first story, the Prime Minister has explained a 5-year plan to the automotive industry to build confidence among investors. Prime Minister General Prayut Chan-o-cha held a meeting at Government House with officers from Isuzu, Toyota, Nissan, and Honda. President of Tripet Isuzu Sales, Toshiaka Mekawa, handed the Premier a development plan for the sector that included tax incentives, better utilization of free trade agreements, and adjustments to state vehicle procurement. He stated that the plan modernizes the government's approach to the auto industry. The Prime Minister has accepted the plan and detailed the government's own 5-year development plan for automotives. He drew confidence from the representatives who stated they will continue to invest in Thailand. Isuzu stated that it will step up production of hybrid vehicles despite Thailand's shrinking auto sales figures, which were down 100,000 units last year. The Prime Minister convened a meeting of the so-called 5 Rivers to follow up on their overall progress and discuss solutions for the draft constitution. Prime Minister General Prayut Chan-o-cha called a meeting of the 5 Rivers comprised of the National Council for Peace and Order, or NCPO, the Cabinet, the National Legislative Assembly, or NLA, the National Reform Steering Assembly, or NRSA, and the Constitution Drafting Commission, or CDC. The head of each government organization briefed the Prime Minister on its overall progress. General Prayut paid special attention to solutions that address public concerns over the draft charter. The Premier asked that the CDC take on all feedback and look to past constitutions to avoid problems with the latest draft. General Prayut also tasked the NLA with expediting amendments to the interim constitution to accommodate the public referendum on the draft charter. The Prime Minister asked that the 5 Rivers step up their work as their deadlines are now approaching, urging them to achieve concrete results soon. He told the 5 Rivers to adhere to the government's 20-year strategy for national reform. The National Reform Steering Assembly, or NRSA, has approved draft regulations for filing complaints, which was presented by a committee on ethics. During its Monday session, which was chaired by NRSA Speaker Captain Thanapan Nakata, the Assembly reviewed draft regulations related to the filing, acceptance, and deliberation of complaints. The regulatory proposal was presented by Ms. Walarat Arun, Chairman of the Ethics Committee and the second Deputy Speaker of the NRSA. Ms. Walarat said that the proposed draft has been adapted from the regulations drafted by the disbanded National Reform Council, which were originally taken from the regulations deliberated by the National Legislative Assembly. She added that the presented draft also saw the addition of some NLA regulations to ensure the NRSA's Ethics Committee will perform its duties efficiently. After the deliberation, the NRSA voted 128 to 5, with no abstentions, to approve the draft. The NRSA Speaker will then submit it for publishing in the Government Gazette. The Constitution Drafting Commission, or CDC, has reviewed the proposals related to the suspension of Senate elections during the country's political transition. Regarding the recent 5 Rivers meeting, CDC Chairman Nichai Richupan said that he will be ready to respond to any resolution reached by the other government bodies. However, he said that if any resolution from the meeting is related to revisions of the draft constitution, all actions will only be taken after all principles and rationales are considered. Regarding proposals that Thailand should only have appointed senators during the 5-year planned transition period and to allow them additional power, Mr. Michai declined to comment as the CDC has not yet come to a resolution on this point. Minister attached to the Office of the Prime Minister, Mamlong Panatadisakul, has instructed government units at all levels to uphold the administration's civil state policy to consolidate their work. At Mazhou University in Chiang Mai Province, Mamlong Panata gave a lecture to students and local community leaders on the topic of civil state agency strategies, and the management of Thai agriculture. During the session, the minister also listened to the attendees' suggestions on the National Agricultural Development Policy in order to present them to the government for consideration. In his speech, Mamlong Panata encouraged civil servants to be role models for the people by putting aside their differences and harmoniously implementing the civil state policy to help support work integration and coordination between sectors in a suitable fashion. Local administrators were also told to comply with the principles of good governance, as well as fostering unity and maintaining loyalty to His Majesty the King. The Ministry of Public Health has continued campaigning for the prevention and control of infectious diseases, especially emerging and recurring diseases. The ministry will submit operational plans to the Cabinet within 1 to 2 months. Public Health Minister Biasagon Sagonsathirathorn said that the National Infectious Disease Committee had approved plans on the prevention and control of infectious diseases. The minister said that relevant units were required under the 2015 Communicable Disease Act to follow the plans. The act recently took effect on March 6th of 2016. The ministry has imposed a policy to urgently eradicate diseases under international regulations, such as polio, measles, and elephantiasis. The ministry has also set plans to develop a system to prevent and control dangerous infectious diseases which have not been found in Thailand. A total of 14 diseases will be targeted for more control measures. Dr. Biasagon added that the ministry would also campaign against the stigma of patients with infectious diseases. In continuing to combat illegal, unreported, and unregulated, or IUU fishing in Thailand, the Department of Fisheries has organized training sessions for relevant agents. The department has organized training sessions for onboard observers, teaching 30 department officials how to maintain fishing regulations on boats in Thai waters and beyond. The observers are to be stationed on boats displaying Thai flags in order to ensure that each vessel adheres to Thailand's IUU fishing regulations. In the training workshop, officers were taught the roles and responsibilities of observers, as well as provided with basic knowledge on science, law, and fishing as applicable to their task. The observers will ensure that boats only catch the right size fish using approved methods and tools, as well as report on labor management. The department has successfully trained 20 observers so far, and fishers can apply for an observer to be stationed on their boat at the department's Deep Sea Fishery Technology Research and Development Institute. On Thailand's eastern seaboard, Jantabun, a waterfront community, is considered to be ancient and unique. This riverside community has become a special destination for visitors in Chanthaburi province. And NBT World correspondent Kun Praphamon Aryasukhawat reports.
The 300-years-old community is situated in Chanthaburi province and is notable for its different architecture and traditional houses that make up the community. There are traditional Thai riverside houses alongside others that have European architectural features combined with a traditional Chinese style.
ซึ่งก็เป็นย่านที่เมื่อก่อนนี้เป็นบ้านคนยวนคริสต์
Chanthaburi waterfront community was affectionately known as Ban Lum, the old town having resided by the Chinese and Vietnamese immigrants since early Ratanakosin. Later, the community had been enlarged and become one of Chanthaburi's trading centers in the reign of King Rama V. At present, the community has become one of the remarkable destinations that is unique and conserved for the visitors.
The classic houses are in the lively style popular during the time of King Rama V, while the ancient architectural features of commercial shops and traditional restaurants are all maintained in a simple style that is suited to the community's natural surroundings. In other words, all of these classic buildings perfectly blend in with the traditional atmosphere of the riverside community.
We've tried to preserve our old community as well as revive all over here for any natural change, not to let them grow by leaps and bounds to a modern living. We don't manage things in any commercial way. No walking streets, but the people here live in their own traditional way. Anyone can do or not do a business as they wish. We always love to keep our community clean and do not dive too much into modern life.
Oh, it's the second time actually. I didn't know first, just walk in the street and then see the house. Very beautiful, nice place. Oh, it's very nice, very old, a lot of history. Very nice place, yeah.
Anyone who happens to come into this town wouldn't want to miss some very interesting places, such as the community's learning center at house number 69, the noble house of Luang Ratchamaitri, the Roman Catholic Church, and the shop selling a nice variety of tasty food and Thai folk sweets. Camera work by Pornmongkul Suthi. I am Praphamon Aryasukhawat for NBT World.
And that is the end of today's edition of Thailand Moves Forward. Up next in our ASEAN news, Thailand prepares to host the 14th Asia Cooperation Dialogue Ministerial Meeting. But first, here's a look at the exchange rates and also the commodity prices.
Pad Thai, created from Thai wisdom, used to be served on banana leaf, and the banana tree is used for practicing Muay Thai. Muay Thai was trained in the temples, which can be found on the mountains, in the caves, or on the water, everywhere, just like Pad Thai. There are thousands of other stories to discover. Discover your amazing stories in amazing Thailand.
ASEAN Economic Community, having the same hopes and mutual intentions to create sustainable growth and permanent economic progress within the framework of the ASEAN Comprehensive Investment Agreement. The ACIA exists to facilitate trade and commerce between member nations, as well as to improve quality of people's lives. One vision, one identity, one community.
welcome back. You're watching Newsline. Thailand aims to promote the sufficiency economy philosophy of His Majesty the King to help introduce the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals at the 14th Asia Cooperation Dialogue Ministerial Meeting from March 9th to 10th at Siam Kempinski Hotel. Spokesperson for the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Segwan Ameti, said that Thailand will host the meeting as a chairman and coordinator for the year 2016. Asia Cooperation Dialogue, or ACD, consists of 33 countries from the Asian region, including ASEAN. Even though there are diversities in the group, ACD will develop altogether. This year, Nepal will become a member country in the upcoming meeting.
The Asia Cooperation Dialogue, Thailand will be hosting as the chairman and the coordinator of the ACD at its 14th ministerial meeting in Bangkok on the 10th of March. The ACD is the only Asia-wide cooperation. For the Thailand's chairmanship, the theme is the way forward. Now, the ACD is now in its 14th year, and given the context of new global challenges, particularly those challenges that affect the livelihood of the people in Asia.
In the meeting, Mr. Don Paramatvinai, Foreign Affairs Minister of Thailand, intends to discuss how to address global challenges related to the economy, epidemics, disasters, and terrorism. Creating Asia prosperity and development by promoting medical tourism and propelling ACD are also part of the main agenda to push forward Asia prosperity and develop all together. The Asia-Europe Meeting exhibition is now underway at TK Park of Central World. NBT World correspondent Kun Suticha Den Prutham was on the scene and brought us this special report.
The year 2016 is the 20th anniversary of ASEM, the Asia-Europe meeting, and to commemorate this very special occasion, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is hosting an exhibition to educate young people about the importance of this meeting. The exhibition is being held at TK Park Central World Department Store, right at the heart of Bangkok. ASEM was first launched in 1996 as an initiative to facilitate the relationship between the two regions. The first ASEM meeting was hosted right here in Bangkok, where this exhibition takes place. ASEM has a special place in Thailand as one of the major international communities which originated in these countries. ASEM has since expanded to include 51 countries and 2 regional organizations, totaling 53 members from its initial 25 founding members. Despite its prominence, the Asia-Europe meeting is not very well known among the Thai population. That is why the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has decided to use this 20th anniversary as an opportunity to host this exhibition to provide better knowledge about ASEM to younger generations.
The monitor behind me is the highlight of this fair. It's one of the very clever ways to introduce a country in Asia and Europe to young people.
This is an interactive gaming platform that offers psychological quizzes, determining what country in ASEM would be most preferable to the participants. The question details several pictures of cultural products, landscape, and wildlife of countries within the ASEM community, while asking the participant to choose some of them to answer one of the questions that detail their preference, from the Miss Universe award to a preferred honeymoon spot. The game then suggests the country that would be most preferred by the participant, together with the geographical, social, and economic details of the country, which is a very clever way to introduce interest in the country within the ASEM community.
Thailand tried to put on the agenda to the ASEM countries that we should raise awareness among peoples, among the people in the member countries. So we said that if we have ASEM Day, and we try to put it on the 1st of March, which is the first day that we have ASEM summit in Thailand, and if all the countries start by talking about ASEM at least once a year, and so people start getting to know a bit by bit.
The ASEM exhibition was held between 1 to 6 March, but will be held once again during 1 to 8. of the same month. Sutisha Denpriktham reporting for NBT World.
In our global stories, Australian media reported that 2 people were dead, including the gunman, and 2 were in hospital after a 6-hour siege ended at a factory on the outskirts of Sydney. The Nine Network reported that heavily armed police stormed the building at about 5 p.m. local time and walked out with 3 people who were believed to be hiding during the 6-hour ordeal. Local media reported that the gunman took his own life. His identity has not been released by police. In December 2014, a lone gunman and self-styled sheikh who claimed allegiance to the Islamic State militant group took 17 people hostage at a cafe in central Sydney. The gunman and 2 hostages were killed in the final minutes of the 16-hour siege. And that's all we have for you in this edition of Newsline. If you have any comments or suggestions, then do feel free to email them to us at newsline.nbt@gmail.com. You can follow us on Facebook by typing in NNT, and do check out our website at thainews.prd.go.th/en. We say goodbye to you today with footage of Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau attending the name-revealing ceremony for 2 giant panda cubs at the Toronto Zoo. For Newsline, I'm Sandra Hanutsaha. Have a spectacular day. Sawadee ka.